10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Man, it is the Competition Plus Power Hour, and as Joe Culp Jr. is saying, time to kick the tires and light the candles, boy. And he says they're boys, and, well, I like to think at least I am a man, but two men going to be talking, yakking it up on drag racing tonight. Myself, the Monday Morning Racer. You can follow me on Twitter at Monmorn Racer, elsewhere, Facebook, YouTube, just about anywhere, social media. But I'm not the only one on here. My co-host, Slammin Sam, you can follow him. New Twitter. Yo, man, you're getting up with the times.
I'm trying to catch up. Yep, that's right. Got on Twitter, dropped a couple of things, but you can find me on Twitter under Slammin Sam. And you can check out the new Slammin Sam Facebook page that I just started just on the whim. Slammin Sam does a couple of funny things. You can check out my podcast, In the Groove. We had Wes Buck on last week, dropped the video of Courtney Enders. But we're going to be doing great things. Lee, just right away, 5 weeks until the Gators, 4 weeks until the Door Slammers, 3 weeks until testing, 2 weeks until traveling starts. And guess what? This week starts the 70th season of NHRA drag racing. How about that countdown? We just 5, 4, 3, 2, skip the 1. Let's go. Starting this weekend at the great place itself in Orlando Speed World. What do you think about that, Lee? Like, we're here. 2021, we're here. We've done it. Hopefully.
2021, we've made it. It did not do a Groundhog Day effect on us, and we continue to live out 2020. We actually are moving beyond. And I've got some news for folks out there concerning the 70th year of the NHRA and running of the professional ranks. Definitely a lot of great events coming up. But I was in the Zoom meeting earlier today with the president of the NHRA and other members of the NHRA, a lot of teams, so little 411 for all of you out there. So do expect that some COVID regulations will still stay in effect in 2021. But Dr. Surface, the doctor for the NHRA, he was hopeful from all that he has heard and that he has seen is that by, maybe the middle of the year, that we can expect that there actually to be true herd immunity, and we might get back to normal around that time and get back to full capacity, get back to things as they were and have the great interaction that the NHRA is known for, every ticket being a pit pass. Also, I do want to clue you in that right now, the purses are not going up. The payout is not going up. It's, in fact, staying the same. And they did cite that just economically, it is not feasible right now for the NHRA to do that. That's something the teams are definitely going to have to traverse. And it makes it very challenging for, like a Leverage Racing, a Doug Foley Racing, teams that actually that payout does assist them to some degree, the part-time team. And this is going to be a year in which the NHRA has definitely got to rely, I think, on part-time teams. So, a lot of things to look forward to. It was a very positive meeting. And yes, cannot wait to get to testing, Gators. And Gators happening, and before the Gators, you have testing at Gainesville Raceway on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. That's happening. So a lot. Yeah, drag racing season is about to be wild. But it already was, Sam. Talk to us about a door slammer race that we just had.
So and that's funny that you mentioned that, Lee. I don't know if you scroll through Facebook as much as I do, but one of my good friends had him on my show, Peso Productions. He put up a video of Mark Mickey and his team putting together their engine back in the car in the pits, and they're using their trailer door, the back door, to drop the engine back in. And it's things like that. And then he turns around and wins Pro 275 at Bradenton. I mean, the dedication that these these athletes already have in the season. We're starting off the season and we're already going through motor changes and motor swaps and, testing brand new cars out. The Caruso family were doing that, and they had some problems. It's really, really incredible to see already at this time in the year. And it excites me really because you're seeing all this and these guys aren't missing a beat. They're full swing back into it. Wrenches are flying, cars are going down the track. And honestly, the way everything looked down in Bradenton this past weekend, if things keep up, this year is going to be the year that we all remember as wow, because there are going to be a lot of passes that people are reaching for because they got the shorter season in 2020.
And sadly, down there for the U.S. Street Nationals, it was not a race with just all highs. There was the lowest of lows. There was a track member killed. Our thoughts and prayers to his family and the racing family down there in Bradenton. So, folks, please do keep that in mind. And whatever, thoughts, prayers, positive energy, send it their way for sure. Now, someone who definitely has positive energy going on right now, well, in World War II, there was an Admiral Bull Halsey. Well, there is a bull in Pro Mod right now in Jim Halsey. The man has won 3 out of the last 4, at least, races that he's entered. He won the shakedowns. He won the World Finals in PDRA, and he wins in a nitrous car nonetheless at the U.S. Street Nationals down there in Bradenton. Wow.
You can't knock the hustle, right? I mean, when you have that momentum going, even if you take some time off, you got to think, and I've said it and I've heard people say it many a times. There's a lot of these guys and girls, because we cannot count them out, that are ready to go when they leave the last race. They may make a couple of changes here and there, but predominantly those setups and those combinations, they've tested them out. They've done the research. They have the lap history of what they're doing and what they've done. So when they get, a lot of people say, oh, it's a big deal to come off the trailer. Well, they're coming off the trailer ready to rock and roll. Everything's been gone through. The car's been set up, tore down, set back up, and ready to go. So honestly, don't be surprised if he wheels it out of the trailer and does it again. Don't be mad. Learn something from him. And that's the biggest thing, is learn something from these guys and these girls that are continually to prove themselves and to prove that their equipment works.
Yes, Jim, the early part of the PDRA season last year, running well, just could not get the win, but he had the performance and goes into the shakedowns. And after that, at the shakedowns, he stunned everybody. And then he comes out and has just been rocking ever since. So he always had something, and he's found that much more. Watch out for him in the PDRA competition. Watch out for him for any Pro Mod event that he shows up to. Matter of fact, they might want to bar the gates when they see his hauler coming down the road if anybody wants a chance to win beyond him. And again, in a nitrous car.
Hey, and then, Pat Musey, congratulations to Pat Musey and the Musey Racing Engines and their company that they've got going on, continuing a 20-plus year partnership with Edelbrock. That's continuing to go. And then, Lee, did you hear Randy Myers has a new driver, but he didn't have to look that far. He did not have to look that far to get a new driver in the seat. What do you think about that and what that says about that team and that history? I don't know if you found out about that, but I did read a little article that he found a new driver, but didn't have to go too far to look for it.
Yeah, that was basically, hey, sweetie, you want to drive the car this year? Yeah, that's basically what that was. I'm not surprised. I'm excited for her and excited for the family. I'm glad they're making it a family. They're continuing to make it a family effort. Look, here in just a few moments with Mike Bucher, we're going to have a top alcohol driver on as one of our guests. He can attest. He can tell you that, look, Mr. Myers, he knows what he is doing. I don't foresee that team skipping a beat whatsoever with her having full-time duties now. She already was doing part-time. She would be there occasionally. It doesn't surprise me, the move. It doesn't And it's not going to surprise me if she comes out of the gate and wins a championship right away. I will not be shocked. Performance will not drop off. Talented driver. It'd be interesting to see. Maybe Rachel is the one out of the Meyer lady camp that will move on in drag racing. Megan decided to retire, has every right to do that. She's strutted her stuff and proved what she's capable of, but is moving on. Maybe Rachel moves on within drag racing.
Lee, I when you said this was one of those talks where it was like, hey, sweetie, the way I think of it, and this is a shout out to their sponsor because this is local to North Dakota where I'm from, Dots Pretzels. I think it was one of those, they're sitting around in the backyard eating Dots Pretzels. And if you like Dots Pretzels, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't tried them, go ahead and do that. But Dots, call us. We need you to sponsor us. But they were sitting around eating some Dots Pretzels, and they were like, I bet you can't drive faster than me. And Rachel was like, you challenging me? And she was like, Megan was like, yeah, of course I am. I think that's how that went down. And I think we can talk about another driver that we're going to have on today, too. I think they got to have some family history of driving against each other. Wonder how those Christmas dinners and Thanksgivings went down. Also in great news, to our favorite guy, I want to give him a shout out because I see he's on here. The geezer, Roger, he is the Southeast Gassers Association Photographer of the Year. So Roger, congratulations, the 2020 Photographer of the Year for the Southeast Gassers Association. That is huge. So a big congratulations to you, to our favorite photographer here at Competition Plus that gets all the beautiful pictures of all the back ladies.
Yes, congratulations, Roger, on that award. The Southeast Gasser Gang, such a great group. And folks, if you want to hear from the drivers, I have those drivers often on my show Between the Slicks that airs 8 p.m. on Thursday nights. Matter of fact, I've got the Superstock champion on this Thursday coming from the Southeast Gasser Association.
You got to stop stealing all of them so I can have some of them on my show. Because see, that's what happens. I go back and then it's like, oh, yeah, these already had them. Just stealing from a poor guy.
Hey, as you said, though, we are looking for sponsors. If you want to be a part of the Power Hour and a tribute to the Starving Host Fund, please do so. Please do so. No, we're truly blessed. We're excited to be doing what we are doing, allowed by Bobby Bennett, and we are excited to have each and every one of you with us tonight. Look, how about we bring a pit insider in, man?
Before we bring in the jeweler, okay. I did get an email about that. You guys, Bobby has given us this opportunity to come out, talk, be the faces of Competition Plus, and we are forever grateful for it. We can't thank him enough for what he's doing, his generosity. So if you guys want Bobby on the show, just let us know. Let us know. We'll have him on 10, 20 minutes. That's it. And then we'll have on another guest. Like I'm playing, but thank you, Bobby, for a Monday Morning Racer, the whole Competition Plus team. We do appreciate everything you do for us and giving us the good information that we can trust. Because you don't want to be reading all that other stuff and ask people questions. Can't believe everything you see on the internet.
In the race for quality, there is no finish line. Jerry Bickle Race Cars is a one-stop chassis shop for drag racing performance parts and race components. For over 50 years, Jerry Bickle Race Cars has been an essential part of racers' plans for building world champion race cars. Our parts department is stocked with every part a racer might need. Log on to jerrybickle.com for more information. We build anything with doors. jerrybickle.com.
Jeff!
The
jeweler! Sam, what's up? Lee, how you doing?
Doing great, man.
Where's your chain? Where's that chain that you sent me the picture of?
I didn't bring it, but I was just wondering, Sam, did you get over the whooping you took from Frank Holly last week yet? Or is that
I'm glad you brought that up. Can you see the cheek there? Man, I was trying to take a page out of Floyd Mayweather's book. I was ducking and diving, and I was trying to still been putting ice on the scars. Frank, I appreciate it. If you guys did not listen to that, you can go to the podcast forum, Competition Plus Power Hour, and there's a good bit in there where I was back in the corner trying to duck and dodge, and man, I could not get out to save my life.
I was going to ask you too, with a name like Slammin' Sam, were you in another industry, like an adult industry, before you started on this show?
No, actually, long story short, I got mad at a guy at work one time out in the oil field. He wasn't showing up for work. And yeah, let's just say I've had better days. On to you, Jeff.
That's what you get for calling me the jeweler. All right, so what do you got going on tonight? I got a question from somebody, and then we'll talk a little about the NHRA deal I was watching earlier on the Zoom call. So the first question comes from a guy named Cincinnati Simon, and he says, at the beginning of your funny car career, you leased a blue Chevy Cavalier, pretty hot, in 1995, and in driving back and forth between the Canada and U.S. to drive Paul Smith's funny car, you ended up putting way too many miles on it. At the time, you didn't know how you were going to solve this particular predicament. Did you buy it out or turn it back in and take the hit on the mileage? So I had to kind of think back a little bit. I worked for a dealership back then, and I thought I bought it, but I may have leased it. And long story short, yeah, I put a lot of miles on it because old Paul Smith, I remember he called me on Wednesday night one time, and I lived in Toronto, Canada. And he asked me, he goes, hey, what are you doing this weekend? I go, not much. He goes, hey, you want to come drive the car at Rockingham? I said, sure, why not? And I went to bed and got up at like 6 in the morning. And, you know, back then there's no MapQuest or anything. So I drove all the way down to Rockingham and ended up running the car down there. And that happened pretty often. So there was a lot of miles on that Cavalier by the time I was done. Luckily, it was a 4-cylinder back then because I didn't have any money. And from what I remember, I think I bought the car because I remember the best man in my wedding when I got married out in California. He really couldn't afford to come out to California. So I told him, hey, I'll give you $1,000, drive that Cavalier out here and I'll take care of you. So that was kind of a funny story about that car. And secondly, we'll move on. I was on a Zoom call with NHRA today and all the drivers and PR people and everything. And long story short, things are looking pretty positive for 2021. You know, the key word, you know, like everybody says, is kind of the fluid deal, where they're not 100% sure what's happening, but obviously the season's going to start in Gainesville, and they got quite a few entries already, so that's going to be cool. Atlanta's after that, and then obviously I don't think we're going to see Pomona or Phoenix for sure. And then we got Vegas, which probably isn't 100% confirmed yet. But, you know, after that, I see the season going along pretty well. There's still some restrictions there. They talked a little bit about the payout, which, you know, to me, and I'm not a team owner, was a little better than I thought. I mean, for the 3-day races, it's going to be, I think, like 85% of the normal payout, and they're paying all the way to the 20 spot, which is actually good for the people that, you know, maybe the lower buck teams, they come out, at least they know they're going to get some money, you know, because 20 is a fair amount of cars for a fuel team. So they'll make a little bit of dough, and with the 2-car races, I think it's a little less, like 70%, but certainly more than they had at the end of last year. They're talking about getting the fuel prices down. And, you know, pre-entries for sportsman cars are like off the hook. Like they're, it's kind of like getting a COVID vaccine. They put the thing up, and like within an hour or two, it's sold out. So I'm looking forward to getting some racing in. I'm going to go out and help Jim down at Gainesville to start off with, and then who knows from there. But I'm looking forward to a great 2021 season. They made a few upgrades to Top Fuel. They have a different, like a kind of a spec for the front half on a Top Fuel car to keep them from breaking like we saw last year with Leah. So that's a good thing. I mean, all the cars will be a lot safer, and they have a few things on funny cars. They got like a rear plate on the car that's supposed to, if you have an accident from behind, it's going to be better, and it made the car a little bit safer. So some really cool stuff going on. It's pretty positive from everything I saw. And again, looking forward to the 2021 NHRA drag racing season.
All right, Jeff, look, thank you for that insider information. Appreciate it. Let me bring you back. I took you out. All right, brought you back. So, yeah, thank you for the insider information, man. And, yeah, okay, that connects the dots. I must have missed that first part of the meeting because Caleb, the general manager for Cruz Pedregon, is like, well, they did take it up, but it's not back to 100%, but it did go up at least.
Right, and I'm thinking if, you know, again, the fluid deal that we're talking about, if more and more spectators start coming out and the COVID restrictions get, you know, eased up, you know, I'm pretty confident it's going to go back up to the 100% where we were before, and that's what I'm hoping for.
All right, we're hoping for it all. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, look, man, every night.
Lee,
Go
did
ahead,
you
Sam.
see this awesome? I can't. Did you see this thing?
Oh, wow.
Just sent me this. Like,
Look at that.
Come on. Any man that's got a chain that looks like that, you better rock that thing every day.
Hey, we you know, living up to Jeweler, he's the pimpin' pit insider. There you go.
Oh, you need to put that as a new name right there.
Yeah. At pimpin' pit insider. There we go.
I like it. They all have to bring that up.
Yes. Jeff, look, get back to your party and have a good night, man.
I will.
Hey, whoa.
Care,
before
guys.
you go, we need to know, what is the cigar of tonight? We need to know.
I didn't even look. My buddy just gives me one and I smoke it, so I'm pretty easy. But
Come
Coors
on,
Light's
that's
always
like-
on tap.
All right, we'll take that.
All right. Enjoy it, Jeff. Thank you, sir.
All right, take care.
Man,
All right.
He sent me that picture the other day of that chain. Then he's got another one. I'll wait because he sent me a few pictures. But I'm like, if I had that, I'd rock that everywhere we go. Like, anytime. Just
Be rocking
so
it.
you know.
Be,
Hey, did
be
you
on
see
the
that
line with the
comment?
funny car. Just, you know.
Bling, 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 bling. Did you see that comment from Joe Jr. there? The cheek looks the red one looks a little lower. Yeah, man. I thought we were all going to forget about this. You know, it's been a week. Let this blow over.
No.
But, hey, stay tuned. Maybe Lee and I might make some funny, memes and different things that you guys may see come out here soon. I plan on it. I
plan on it.
I don't even know. What do you call it? Like, that was harsh.
You got punked. That's what I call it. You got punked.
Dude, that was like old school MTV, like kind of throw the bait out. I took it, and then I tried to back out, and then it was like, nope, I'm in for the ride here.
Yeah. It was so bad, you can start a school on what not to do. That was it.
If you ever see Frank and you see myself, we won't be in the same area. We might be at the same race. We will not be in the same area. Just letting you guys know that.
Right. That's right. Well, look, let's bring on our first guest, Slammin' Sam. And before I do that, I've got some footage, so it brings context to the situation concerning Mike Bucher. He does have a drag racing pedigree. His dad was involved in drag racing and has a particular bright spot and moment in NHRA drag racing history. So these two clips before we bring on Mike Bucher.
Okay, Clayton Harris looking over his car. He was uninjured. Here is the Chevrolet-powered dragster of Jim Bucher from Westchester, Ohio. He is matched up against Richard Tharp in the Candies and Hughes dragster from Houma, Louisiana. Richard Tharp with a big lead, but something goes awry as Jim Bucher, 6.50.
One more, and we'll have Mike on with us as well.
In the Tower Lane, Billy, it's the SSP Kenner Dragster. Jim Bucher, 33-year-old Cincinnati, Ohio veteran, with a best time of 6:07, 236 miles per hour, turned to Gainesville, Florida at the Gator Nationals. This machine held the national record, Billy, and it is Chevrolet powered. That's what's so fantastic about this incredible machine.
6-0 times are nothing new for Jimmy Bucher in the Tower Lane as he brings up the SSP Killer machine in lane number.
Man, look, props to your dad for having a Chevrolet top fuel engine, but also a Chevrolet push vehicle. That's cool, man. That's cool.
You're going to make me cry watching some of those.
Well, hey, we've done a lot of things for people on the show, and crying hasn't happened, and we got it now.
Well, it just, it brings me back to, he died when I was 15, so it's an honor to be here. And I had shared with you, the one thing I got to do, it used to drive me nuts when people like John Force would mention all the sponsors, but then I realized the reason they do it is how much they appreciate them. And so I'm going to take 1 minute to thank some people. First of all, just Robin and Tony Samsel, an awesome A-Fuel car I've been driving. If anyone wants to lease a car, I direct you there. Chip Lofton with Strutmasters, and he's actually... he's going to be bringing out a new product that I'm going to be helping with, VitaShot, right here. And it's an immunity booster. Awesome product. Mike Ashley, Realty Warehouse, is a sponsor that's helped me a lot. I wouldn't be here without him. Bill Stewart as a company, Clean Tools, the Glosser and Absorber, great products. And he's helped me. And all these are Christian guys who believe in the Hope Over Heroin ministry helping. Gene Lampshire, TFC Transportation, he's local Northeast Ohio. Dave Nelson, Nelson Trucking in Michigan. Great help, great friend. Tom and Judy Shyman, Sweetie's Candy, the biggest candy warehouse in the United States. Becky Elias, Mufflers for Less, they're in Cleveland. Jim Surace and Smith, it's an insurance company. Brian Karate is Master Pizza. Bob Wynn, rjwoil.com. Josh Hart, Bernies.com, he's helped me. And I want to thank my wife, Sheila, my 14 kids, 15 grandkids in Calvary Chapel, Cleveland, who they allowed me to do this and encouraged me to do this. And then also Frank Holly. I learned things from his class that have helped me and A-Fuel. And anyway, all these people believe in the Hope Over Heroin ministry. The last 3 years, I've had such an impact. So many people coming up to me dealing with addiction. One guy called me and he said, last year we talked, he said it changed his life. He was a heroin addict. He's off of drugs. And I don't remember talking to the guy because I talked to so many. And lastly, I just want to point out, my dad's the last Top Gas Wally, and then I finally got one right here, the regional win and the regional championship. And so that's pretty much all the thank yous. But I had to mention these people, and and Lucas Oil's coming on new, and all such a blessing, and I'm very grateful to all of them. So anyway.
Awesome. So explain a little bit more, over your career, 40 years of doing this, your wait to get into the car and everything like that. When you finally got your first win, how, like I said, 40 years of doing it and you get that first win, what does that
Well, actually, I waited 40 years doing nothing. I've been a pastor. I was supposed to drive Top Fuel when I turned 18. My dad died when I was 15. It led me to accept the Lord, but I didn't do anything. I did nothing until 2017. And Brian Karate and Antron Brown said, we're going to help you get your license. And Brian sent me down to Frank's school. I was a 55-year-old rookie. And then in my first time down the track against a famous, great racer, Marty Thacker, and I actually won that one, which is a miracle, and the Dreer car, and they're excellent people, and they helped me. And then the next year went to the final round with Bobby Everett's car, Tippy Pierce, the crew chief. And that was an awesome experience. And then the last year and a half with the Samsels. And so that's when, 4 races this year, went to the final round, had 2 semifinals, and then 1 in St. Louis. And that final round, winning it, we also won the regional championship by 11 points. And if you were to have a list of people at the beginning of the year and said, who's the last guy who's got a chance to win a regional championship, they would have picked me. And so it's kind of funny, but it's a solid car, runs 530s and 520s every time down the track. And had a couple close races where I had to nail the tree. And you know what? I asked the Lord to help me, and I know he does. And so, like I said, I didn't race for 40 years. I did nothing for 40 years. And then 3 years ago, just started.
Mike, so folks do want to know, where can they follow you? So social media, how can people follow you in Samsels?
Well, you know what? I'm right now going to be upgrading a lot of the social media stuff. I personally don't like all of it, but it's the world we live in. There's on Facebook, Hope Over Heroin Dragster, Mike Bucher page. And right there, that's information there. There's actually some people are going to be helping me as far as all the other social media and marketing. I'm not good at it. And like you said, I don't really like it, but it's the reality that we're in. I have a Facebook page, Mike Bucher, Bucher. And it's me when you see the 14 kids and 15 grandkids in the background. But Hope Over Heroin Dragster, Mike Bucher's on Facebook. And there's going to be more coming. Like I said, I do want to help Chip as far as the Vita shot. And there's some plans. The ultimate goal for me is to follow my dad's footsteps, which is Top Fuel. And there's a really neat car owner that I'm working with, and the information isn't coming out yet, but the goal is Top Fuel license and to do a couple of Top Fuel races and then still do a couple with the SAM. So I can't do a lot of races. I'm a full-time pastor, and my commitment is I'm not going to let drag racing come before my family or ahead of the church. And my real calling is teaching God's word. And there are so many drag racers now that are going online and watching Calvary Chapel Cleveland Facebook page and YouTube page, the Bible messages. And, the reality is that's why I'm doing this. I do want to infiltrate racing for the Lord, because in the end, I think that's what everyone needs. And he saved me after my dad died, and I just want other people to have the blessings that he's given me. And so drag racing is just a podium. It's a tool. And I've prayed, Lord, if you're going to let me do this, give me a platform. And he has, and he's blessed. There's been a lot of success. I've only been in about 15 events and been in 3 finals and won one. And so I know he's helping me.
Certainly. Hey, shout out to Harada Motorsports, David Harada. We got to get those guys on. That is a cool group, Harada Motorsports. We got to get them on.
They're awesome guys. Awesome team.
Yeah, definitely. So you talk about your plans and goals to get to Top Fuel. Is there anything maybe in the works?
Oh yes.
I don't want to push too far now.
Yeah,
I learned my lesson after last week.
No. The goal is Top Fuel license run as soon as we can get to a test session, and it's coming. It's coming. And if I had my pick, I would do a Top Fuel debut at America's track, Bill Bader, Summit Motorsport Park. It's the best track in the country, and he's a good supporter and encourager for me. And my goal is to get the license, and that would be the first race for me in Top Fuel.
Stellar. Hey, shout out to Joshua Hart, Fearless Racing. They're watching as well. A little fist bump, checkered flag, a little prayer, a little trophy. Yes, very cool. Thank you all for being on.
Imagine Josh. He's helped sponsor me last year, a competitor in Top Alcohol. So I got a lot of respect for that guy. He's just a humble dude, very smart, a lot of wisdom for such a young age. And I'm grateful for his help. He's one of them that helped me.
So, Mike, look, talk to us about your dad. Bring us up to speed on some drag racing history. Give us some more context to the footage we saw, and where people can even see the car today.
Well, it's in Big Daddy's Museum in Florida. And, he raced Top Gas, the last of the twin engine cars. He won the last national event. He went to Top Fuel. He really didn't know what he was doing. Back then, in 73, the record was a 617. He had best he run was a 640. Then he shows up at the Gator Nationals in 1973 and ends up setting the ET record, 607 at Top Fuel. So there's always been Chevys, but they've always been a couple of tenths behind the Hemis. One time in history, a Chevy was ahead of the Hemis. It didn't last long, but he was. And then he won the 75 Summer Nationals where he got sick. And between 73 and 75, I got stacks of articles that said crowd favorite Jim Booker, races where Garlits was, where Muldowney was, and he match raced Garlits all over the country. He got sick the weekend. He won the Summer Nationals in 75. He died 2 years later to the day. And my mom said I could have the car, but then Big Daddy called up and said, hey, I'm starting a museum. And he said, I want the car. And it's the best thing we ever did. That car wasn't restored. It was new when Garlits got it. And if you go down there, it is the best looking car in that museum. I know I'm biased, but when you look at it, you're going to go, that is a neat looking car. And it's perfect. And that's how it was when we gave it to him.
That's awesome. And so I've got kind of a personal question for you again here, but you being a top alcohol driver, do you think that your class is overlooked by the Top Fuel category, just because, a lot of people will see you guys and maybe this is when I go and grab a snack or something like that when they're at the races. Do you feel like your class is maybe overlooked a bit?
Well, the reality is Nitro Methane, Top Fuel Funny Car, and Top Fuel Dragster are what bring most of the fans. And but the thing is, to get guys there, almost all of them come out of the top alcohol ranks. And so, I would encourage NHRA to find a way to promote that class a little better. They had Drag Racer TV last year, and I think there's a general feeling from the other guys in the class that it's not looked at as important. But the reality is, without top alcohol dragster and top alcohol funny car, you're not going to have people, less people are going to be going into Top Fuel. And in A fuel dragsters, which what I drive, it's identical to driving Top Fuel. That's why I went into it. And, the first 10 runs scared me to death, but now it's gotten to where the car's slowed down. And, I can see I'm aware of everything. Tony Samsel is a great teacher. He helped me a lot. And I do think, though, it's an awesome class. I mean, it's really cool. When you're in an 8 fuel car, when you step off the clutch and that thing starts popping before you light the second bulb, the thing shakes, and it is the coolest sound in the world. There's something about those things that just sound really cool. And the only thing better is Nitro with the blower on it, you know.
Mike, you were able to pull off this year, yes, your first win, but you were able to pull off a regional title. Now, talk to us about what that means in the landscape of NHRA drag racing to get a NHRA regional title, what it took to do that, and what does it mean to you, man?
Well, you know, obviously a world championship is the best, and you're right. Megan Meyer, she's the best. Randy's the best. I lost to that car like 7 times. One time Rachel driving it. I did have her at 1,000 foot, but that thing goes 280, and she passed me in the lights. But the regional championships are for the guys who can't travel the whole country, and that would be me. And so there's only 4 people that get one of those. There's 4 regions, and I went back in history and counted the total number of drivers, because a lot of guys are repeat champions. And in the whole history of Top Alcohol, only like 30 guys ever won a regional championship. So, you know, the reality is not many people get to do that. It's not as good as the world champion, but it's the next best thing. And I didn't expect that. You know, we went to the final in Columbus. I ran my best ETs there, 528. And that put us in a good position. We were only a round behind the rest of the year with 1 less race. And so it was best 4 out of 5. And I went to St. Louis knowing if we won it, we get it. And it was neat. I literally got on my knees and put my head on the car with a helmet and just bawled my eyes out. And, you know, part of it has to do with my dad wishing he could see, but also just my Heavenly Father. He's good, and he allowed me to do something. He didn't have to let me win a race, and he did, and that's where the joy came from.
So what does 2021 look like for you? What are the plans to kind of get out there and get racing? What do you have in store for us here in 2021?
Well, here's the thing. There's tuning, there's driving, and then there's getting sponsors. And that's where I'm at. I always have enough sponsorship to do a couple races. And again, I'm a pastor. You know, the biggest test for me would be if somebody come along and said, here's money, do 12 races. Well, I can't do it. So, you know, 4 or 5 races. The dream for me, get top fuel license, at least get some experience, do a couple races. And then also, like I said, I'm leading in the JEGS All-Stars in Top Alcohol. So for the Samsels, I wouldn't mind doing that for them. It's at Indy. And that's if the normal driver is Robin. And if he doesn't want to do Indy, then I'll do it. But that's their home track. So I don't have a lot set in stone. If I had to write the ultimate goal, top fuel license, Norwalk National event, and then, you know, JEGS All-Stars with the Samsels.
Mike, go in depth for us, because on that dragster, one of the biggest things on that dragster, vinyl-wise, is hopeoverheroin.com. So go in depth, Hope Over Heroin, and how does that tie into a drag car?
Well, here's the thing. It's a ministry based in Ohio, and they do rallies all over the state of Ohio and some other states. And they set up this big old stage, which they did at the Columbus race. It took 400 man hours to set it up. It was massive. And they do concerts. They give away free food, free clothes. They do all these things in a community, but they also reach out to people dealing with addictions. And I was involved with a Bill Glass prison ministry, and this motorcycle stunt group was there. And it's when the opioid death thing was going through the roof. And I was talking to the leader of it, and he says, well, I'm going to this rally, Hope Over Heroin. We're going to perform there. Got to check it out. So I go there and I check it out, and it's the same time frame that I'm getting my license. And I thought, well, if they can use a motorcycle to reach people and promote Hope Over Heroin, then I can use the dragster. So the dragster is an expensive billboard that's making people aware. And I would encourage people, you want to support a worthy cause, hopeoverheroin.com. Go on there and support them. And, you know, Bill Bader said something to me encouraging. He says, you know, Mike, you got something very unique. Everybody's on your side, Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal. Everybody hates drugs. Everybody knows it's a problem, and everybody wants to help. And see, I'm promoting Hope Over Heroin. I don't physically work there with them. When they come to the races, I'll have the guys be part of the crew, because they have a program with 80 guys that are there full time. They get them off drugs, get them educated, get them jobs. And I took these guys around a Columbus race, and they're just neat guys. They're broken, and that ministry is having a real impact. And so if somebody's looking to support something, support Hope Over Heroin. Go there, hopeoverheroin.com. That money does not go to the racing. The list that I gave earlier, those are the guys that are paying for it. And I tell them up front, your name's not going to be the biggest name. Hope Over Heroin's going to be. And they all like that. And to me, that's the reason I'm doing it. Racing itself is cool, but the fun wears out quickly. If I can't do something more substantial with it, I'm not going to do it because it costs too much and it takes too much time. But if I reach one guy who's on drugs and I help him get off it and it's already happened, or if I turn one kid from drugs, because my favorite thing is to let them sit in the car and talk to them about not touching drugs. And they think I'm Captain America, or they think I'm Big Daddy. And Big Daddy had told me to stand on my head on the starting line at 10 years old, I would have done it. And these little kids are looking at me, and I talk to them about how to drive the car, and then I give them a speech about not touching drugs. And I know at that age, it brands it on their brain. They'll never forget about it. And so to me, that's just using drag racing for something more than drag racing. And that's the vision.
Mike, my last question for you. You mentioned Columbus, Ohio, and Columbus has got an extremely short shutdown area. What is it like? What is that like in one of the A-Fuel dragsters?
Well, what the reality is, because Top Fuel is 1,000 foot, we're the fastest things at a quarter mile. They're slowed down lower than mile per hour than we are because their chutes are out. And my second run ever in an A-Fuel car, the parachutes didn't come out at Columbus. That's a quarter mile track, quarter mile shutoff. Not good. And every other track, once the chutes are out, you don't even need the brakes. I mean, they have to push you off. Columbus, chutes come out, and it's chutes out, grab the brake like there's no chutes, you feel them pop. That's what Frank Holly taught. Fuel shut off, kill the ignition, and then usually you can relax. But there it's like, oh no, I'm not stopping, and you got to grab the brake. I mean, it's Tony Schumacher called it. He said it was evil short. That was his quote to me. And so put it this way, you can't relax. The most relaxing part of the run is when the chutes come out, except Columbus. You got to pull the chutes, shut everything off, and then still hold the brake. I don't want to go in the sand again. That wasn't fun. So
it's awesome to hear and awesome to see. And like you mentioned, you're doing this great thing and you're promoting something that is not usually what we see talked about in drag racing, and what we're not used to seeing it. So it's a lot different. Have you seen, some of the guys in the past that you've brought to the track? Do you still stay in touch with some of them, or still talk to them and see how they're doing and progressing?
Well, what happens is somebody comes up to me, they see the Hope Over Heroin shirt, or they see it on the dragster, and they come and talk to me about their son or themselves or their spouse. And then I say, well, find me on Facebook. And they find me on Facebook. And then we just communicate. They stay in touch. Sometimes they're struggling. It's like, hey, how are you doing? Can I pray for you? And there's definitely a following being built because of this. And I've had a couple stand in front of me crying. They said their son died of an overdose on Mother's Day 3 weeks before. He was 25 years old. I said, how old was he when he started drugs? 13. And I said, you're the reason I'm here. I want to stop this. And the Hope Over Heroin, the heroin epidemic makes me angry how many people are dying. And I want to do something. And it's like emptying the Pacific Ocean with buckets. We all have 2 buckets. Well, these are my buckets. I'm doing what I can. It's not going to stop it. But if I stop one person from using drugs or help someone get off it, it's cheaper to pay for the dragster than for them to get addicted. And I know I'm having an impact. It's growing. The influence is growing. And more I see people calling me and talking to me and thanking me. And so I know it's worth it to be out there doing it.
Well, Mike,
yeah, that's awesome.
Keep on.
It's awesome to put your platform, your publicity out there to do something for the greater cause. So I commend you for that.
I want to thank Bobby Bennett. You guys should have him on. Great guy. And this is awesome that he's allowing this. He's a neat guy, and I love Competition Plus.
Mike, thank you, man. Thank you for your time. We're going to let you go this evening, and hope to see the Hope Over Heroin dragster out there in 2021.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Folks, look, we are going to transition right now, take a break. Right after the break, we're going to have the 2-time NHRA Funny Car champion on, Cruz Pedregon. And yes, Sam already has his Raiders gear on. But talking about gear, Competition Plus
Have you got
apparel.
your Competition Plus apparel yet, Lee? Come on.
I have. It looks good. The masks feel great. Get some.
Lucky
Get some.
you.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Cruz
Lee?
Pedregon, man, long time no see.
How's it
Not
going?
often I get to do this, so I got to wear the gear.
Oh man,
Cruz?
look at you, Sam.
I
the
got to
man.
wear the gear.
Nice.
Not often that we have another Raiders fan on the show. So,
Oh yeah.
sorry,
man.
Lee.
Let
us have our moment.
I'm a lifer with the Raiders.
So when you say that, because a lot of people ask me, and we're gonna just get this out of the way here, Lee. Since they moved to Vegas, is this a big deal that they moved to Vegas, or hey, you know what? We're just taking this opportunity and we're just gonna roll with it.
It's a new stadium. It's like they had to move out of the outdated stadium where they were. So, it's a good thing. They're still the Oakland Raiders. They're still a silver and black. They have the same logos, commitment to excellence, slogans, just win, baby. And they're getting closer. We need another year under Gruden, and it's going to be good.
Hey, keep the silver and black. Keep that, swagger. It's just like the Dallas Cowboys. They had to keep the hole in the roof so God could watch his team play.
That's
So,
right.
it had to happen. Had to happen. So,
How
Cruz,
dare
look,
you.
I know that you keep up with other racing, and you're definitely interested in other racing. The Chili Bowl. What did you think this year of 2021?
Well, I'm glad they actually pulled it off, with all the pandemic and all the things going on, to have that event indoors and to unfold and actually get all the days. It's a six-day event for them to get it through great racing. And the top 2 guys were 1 and 2, just like we all predicted, Kyle Larson and Christopher Bell. And yeah, it was a great show. And we watched every day. My girlfriend and I, Melissa, we were up watching, I believe it was Flow and then Mav TV on the final day. So it was a good event. It's Chili Bowl, man. It's every year after the Chili Bowl, I'm already calling. I want to buy a midget. I want to build another one, and I'm ready to go every year. And we decided that we're going to put our foot down and go next year, especially with my team. The new team. I'm sure we'll talk about that. Taking care of things. I don't have to be there at the shop as much, so it'll lend itself for me to maybe do a Chili Bowl here in 2022.
Or maybe we can get you up here to the Dakotas and you can run a wingless sprint car. That might be something.
There you go. I haven't been in a dirt car. Now this is way too long. Since 2012, I was in the last sprint car was my buddy Glenn Stiers from Oswego Speedway up in Canada. 2012 was my last. I won a heat race, and I was running towards the tail in the feature there. Dried up on me. Dry slick is running the bottom, catfishing as they say. But it was a good time. So yeah, I need to get back out and get my dirt thing going again. But it'll be, like I said, with the team that we've put together. I'm able to not spread myself so thin, so maybe I can get out to the track.
And since we're talking about the dirt race here, since we're talking about this, and my eye is still sore from taking the beating from Frank last week, do you think the Smoke should run in the NHRA? I'm gonna leave it like that. Do you think he should take the gander and do it?
Smoke as in Tony Stewart?
Yeah, Smoke as in Tony Stewart.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I talked to Tony a little bit, and I think you'll see him sooner than later. I'm not sure what his plans are. They're running tonight at the All-Star. I think the All-Stars debuted last night. I think they got rained out, so they're running tonight down in Florida, as a lot of the dirt track racing kicked off last week. So we watched the late models run tonight, Lucas Oil Late Model Series, and then but back to your question, I think Tony Stewart would be a great driver. It'd be interesting to see how he transitions from all that he's driven, because he's one of the few guys that has driven all the different cars and all at the high level, Indy cars, midgets, NASCAR, obviously. And so it would be great. I think it would be great for drag racing. And, I think Tony, he has that desire to get in there and mix it up. We'll see.
Well, that went a lot better for you, Sam, than last week with Frank Hawley. Wow.
I left it an open-ended. It was an open-ended wrench.
You did. I saw what you did there, and that was a better move.
I was using a Snap-on open-ended wrench on both sides. See?
There we go. I like that plug too. Yes, Snap-on. Speaking of Snap-on, Cruz, an extension. Man, talk to me about that relationship you've got with Snap-on. It must be pretty good.
Well, it is. It's been a long relationship. It goes way back to 1992, my first year with. When I, entered the pros with the McDonald's team, Larry Minor had Snap-on board. And so we've had a great relationship, and it's only gotten better through the years. They've been a primary on the car since 2010. And so to sign another 3 years during this rough time that we're in as a country, really as a world, it really means a lot to me. And it means a lot to all the Snap-on franchisees. I get to, hang out with those guys a few more years. And a lot of people don't realize this, but I actually visit a lot of the race shops or a lot of the mechanic shops through my affiliation with Snap-on. So I get a dealer, we pick a dealer, and before the race, like a Thursday before the race, I'll jump on the truck and ride with them for 3 or 4 hours. And for me to be a part of that and to see these mechanics, to walk in these shops and have them recognize me and really to see the pride they have working with these tools and the pride that they have with their toolboxes, and they have their family photos in these huge toolboxes, and they have me sign some of the autographs, some of the toolboxes. Really a cool thing for me. And so, to be affiliated with a company like that for these years, and they only sponsor one other team, and that's Penske. That's the big Penske team. And so, to be involved with that whole group is just amazing. And so we're going to make the best of it. Hey, we're going to come out swinging this year, and we think we've got a really great team put together. So we'll see what the 2021 brings.
And let's just go ahead and talk about that. You've mentioned the new team. So was that more of a package deal, or did you want John for sure, and he said, hey, no, I have the whole team ready to go? Or how did that all kind of shake out?
Well, it was both. I was in need of some good, solid professional technicians to work on the car. That's the backbone of what we do. It's great to have a great crew chief, and it's, I feel like I can drive at a championship level, but you really need all the guys. So it was when John and I spoke, it was the package. We never talked about anything but the package, and I talked to Don Schumacher, the team owner. I actually called Don and got his blessing, and just kind of wanted to do it the right way, and not because I didn't really know for sure what Don had in store for his teams. And so I reached out to Don, and he gave me his blessing and said, hey, he told me he wished he had a team for them, because he really thought a lot of that whole group, and JC, John and what they've meant to that team. So we brought if they had any pet dogs or any animals around there, we wanted them too. We wanted the whole group, because they were successful as a group. And so I felt that was a key to bringing that whole team together.
So Cruz, when I had you on Between the Slicks, that whole transition was pretty fresh in making the switch and bringing the team over. It's been a couple of months now. What are some things that you've seen with your experience that you're like, wow, I like this. I like where it's heading. This is good. What are some things you're seeing out of that new group?
Well, just the focus, attention to detail, and really the enthusiasm. Like I mentioned earlier about Snap-on technicians and customers, they're just they're happy to be there. They're happy to work with the And I have a really nice shop. A lot of people don't get a chance to see our race facility, but we have a 25,000 square foot shop. It has all the equipment in there. And so to see these guys working and just really being at home there and putting the cars together and doing all the things that there is to do. So I walk in the shop all the time. Every morning I walk in there and I see the different things they do. And every time I see what they're doing, I'm like, man, they're doing that, man. And so they go above and beyond. And I think that's what championship caliber teams do, is they surprise you. And I'm a mechanical guy. I know what's going on. And so I get to see what they do. And so I think just the enthusiasm and that that what they're putting together, they know that we're going to count on everything to be solid, because, hey, the competition is doing the same thing. So we need to match what they're doing.
Well, folks, if you want to get a peek into Cruz's shop, check out Monday Morning Racers, the YouTube channel. Caleb Cox opened the doors for me and was able to do a shop tour over there. Yes, sir, you do have a very nice facility all the way around. I particularly like that the Nostalgia Funny Car part. That may be my most favorite part.
Yeah, the guys got a kick out of that. They walk in the shop, and we kind of have it over off to the side. It's it's surrounded by all the Snap-on blinged out toolboxes. It's all matching. So, but that's a hobby. I don't really have any hobbies. I don't have a boat. I don't have a Harley, and I'm pretty boring life, really. But so my hobby is racing. So it looks like I'm going to get some time to run we call it what's called the California Charger Nitro Funny Car. It runs, for those of you who may not know, it runs quarter mile. It runs 560s at 250 miles an hour. So the rule package is based on the 1970s funny car packages, how they were. So it's a throwback car, a lot of fun. And, hopefully I get some time to get out and run it a little bit here this year.
So how awkward sometimes can family events be, if the whole family gets together with you and your brother racing? Was that ever an awkward moment when you guys get together and kind of sit around the table?
It was never awkward. At first, it was, we took racing, as we still do personally, and we take it seriously. And we were kind of at each other's throats at the very beginning. We didn't, like, if one of us would beat the other, we wouldn't speak for a week or two. But then we kind of, especially with Tony, Tony was in really good equipment, as I was in the 90s when we first started racing. So it was back and forth quite a bit. And, but I miss that, I miss Tony being out there, but he's doing a really good job. I tell him all the time that, he does a good job in the booth. And, I did it for 1 year. I was in television as the analyst for 1 year, and I got the emails and the long faces. But, I think really, being a fan of all the sports, we watch shows like Undisputed on Fox Sports 1 with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and some of the different programs. And really the athletes get critiqued on their tenfold what they do in our racing. So the fact that Tony really goes in there and tries to set the record straight, and his job is to tell it like it is. And so it's funny how we get hated on a little bit when you're in that position, but it's all good. And I encourage anyone to check out the race on Fox. There's going to be, I believe the Gator National is going to be on the big show, Fox, the big network. We just announced that today, or we had a meeting with NHRA and they announced that. So a lot of good stuff. I do want to mention the enthusiasm is really high for the Gator Nationals coming up. I know we're still not out of the woods yet with everything that's going on in the world with the pandemic, but hey, we're all going to do our parts and wear our masks and do all the things that we have to do to stay safe, more importantly. But then we're going to go out there and let it all hang out on the racetrack. So I do want to get that out there, that NHRA is doing a really good job. I think the purses were announced today, and I think they were as good as they can be given the climate, the financial climate they're in. They're not able to sell all the tickets and all that kind of stuff. And I know I'm kind of going around a little bit. You asked a question about the brothers, but I just kind of wanted, while I'm thinking about it, just kind of talk about some of the other things that are going on. But hey, it was great to have two brothers race. And like I said, I didn't race a lot with Frankie, but Tony, back and forth, hell of a driver. And as we got older, we kind of got hey, we were good with it.
No, that's awesome. I didn't know if it was like No, I'm not passing him the mashed potatoes this year because, yeah.
Oh, it was it. Believe me, it was. There were times where it was pretty heated, but like I said, you're going to get that when you have competitive people, and But I always and what I admired about Tony, and I did the same with him, is we always race each other like we were racing another competitor. He was. So it wasn't like he really got after me any harder than because the way I looked at it, if he beat me and cut a good light on me, brother, do that to the next guy, do that to John Force or whoever, don't single me out. So that was always good. If it was our day in the winner's circle, whoever was in the winner's circle, the other brother would come in there and congratulate him.
So, Cruz, mentioning the Gator Nationals, obviously Nitro testing is going to be firing up. So, what can you share with us? Do y'all plan on doing the Palm Beach International and then the Gator test as well, or just the Gators? What are the thoughts with the team?
Well, we're going to do both. We felt it was important for us to get out there and really make some runs and get out there, get JC and the team acclimated to my team. And, even though we're trying to make the cars identical and really have everything that they're used to, we still have different cars or different chassis. They're still DSR chassis, but everything's a little, not everything, but there's a few subtle differences in the cars. Superchargers are different. So the cylinder heads are AJ Alan Johnson cylinder heads versus the DSR. So there's a few differences. So we want to make sure we work all the bugs out. And so we're going to go to Palm Beach. Then we'll come back up and run at the Gainesville facility, maybe one or two hits there on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and be ready to go. I mean, it's we're going to come out firing, and we'll let the chips fall where they may after that.
So we had on last week Frank Hawley. He worked for Larry Minor. You worked for Larry Minor at one point in your career. I've got to ask, any good Larry Minor stories?
Good Larry Minor stories. Yeah, there was a good Larry Minor story. I was going to tell one about when they strapped Frank Hawley in, how he had to have his junk on one side or the other, but I don't want to embarrass Frank. But when they strapped him in the car.
No, do it for the sake of me. Do it, please.
So
please.
I got to tell the story. Frank's gonna drill me for this, but so they would go to strap him in, and so he would like, whoa, time out here. I got to get stuff moved, situated. Where with me, it's like, hey man, put those belts on. Wherever stuff falls, it falls. But so that was a cool little funny story there. But the other one, I'm in the lounge. We just got beat in the first round. We're at Sonoma, and this is in the drag show. This is 1991. I'm driving Larry's Top Fuel dragster, my first year. So I didn't know Larry's temperament. I didn't know anything, right? So we got beat. It was a close. I think we lost to Tom Mongoose McEwen. It was first round. So we all had our Otter Pop shirts. So Larry had already taken his shirt off. Larry was a big, strong guy. He still is. So I'm noticing as I'm taking my fire suit off, there's all these buttons laying around. I'm going, and you can hear a pin drop. Everyone's quiet. No one's wanting to talk because Larry's PO'd, right? Because we got beat. So I just innocently asked, hey, man, where do all these buttons come from? Well, unbeknownst to me, Larry went in there and did one of these, just ripped his shirt off like Hulk Hogan. And so they all started laughing because I was naive. I didn't know any better. But so that Larry started laughing too. So it was kind of my introduction to Larry Minor when things didn't go his way, especially on the racetrack. He definitely would he would either throw his headset one direction or he would rip his shirt off. So that was kind of a fun story. Innocent little story, but it was cool.
No, the classic rending of the garments when angry. I like that.
Yeah. So when I saw those buttons again, I actually stayed out of the trailer for a little while. Then I went in there. It was funny because I noticed I mentioned we weren't there was no lounge in this trailer. It was a ex Shirley Muldowney, really nice trailer, but I had to change my suit literally by the workbenches. So there was little lockers there. So I'm sitting on the thing there. So I think back when my early career, now I have the lounge, I have my own, we have all these things, but back in the day, man, you drop your pants right on the spot in front of everybody and just put your suit on and go racing. It's a little bit different now.
And you talk about, you said the old days back in 1980, that's 10 years before I came about, but you won your first race in a 1953 Kenworth. the old truck racing days. What was that all about, the truck racing? How did you get started with doing that?
Well, I grew up around trucks. My dad had a truck lot, so we had probably 15 or 20 semis. We're talking diesel big trucks. So my favorite truck was my old Kenworth. It was a 53 Kenworth, and so it was a restored, really nice truck. Wasn't a hot rod by any means. So there was a flyer that local racetrack, Orange County, sent a flyer for the truck drags. So I asked my dad. He said he thought about it. He said, "Sure, take the old truck." So it was a 21-second dial-in I had, and it was bracket racing because there was trucks I was racing that were most of them faster than mine. So it was a bracket race. Never forget it. There was probably 50 trucks in my class. I won my class, won $1,000 cash plus another 1,000 in prizes, 6-foot trophy. So I was hooked at that point, and I was 15 years old. I lied about my age because I had to be 16 to enter the race. I had no license. Like who needs a license? I even drove my truck there on the 405 freeway to Orange County from Torrance, or from Gardena. But so that was my first experience with so think about it, a quarter mile, 21 seconds. Like you can get like some old person's van or whatever to drive. It'll probably go 19 seconds in a quarter mile. So this is a pretty slow truck, but man, I'm grabbing gears. I did cut some lights that day because I was that was how you win an ET race. You got to cut a light and they would be chasing you down. And so lo and behold, my dad didn't even go to the race. So we get home and I have this trophy and all these things and prizes and all that. My dad was pretty proud.
Continuing on the earlier part of your career, we talked about Larry Minor and now the race in the truck. And by the way, folks, you can see the picture of Cruz standing next to it on his social media.
Yeah, that's it.
That.
Right. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I had my cowboy boots on too.
Styling and profiling.
Cowboy boots. Yep.
So
rocking the Justins.
Oh yeah.
So there was a period of time that you were in a top field dragster, as you mentioned, coming out of the alcohol ranks. Are you kind of surprised the direction your career took, being so heavy with funny car? Was that always the plan? I don't know, ever hop back into a dragster anytime?
It was destiny. It just was meant to be. I started out in dragsters, and I always preferred funny cars. I liked funny cars. I loved the cars, the characters. You always had the funny cars, and don't get me wrong, I love the dragsters. I still do, but the funny cars had the Tom Mongoose McEwen and Don the Snake Perdome, Raymond Beadle, the Blue Max, Little John Lombardo. Back, you had all these characters, and these funny cars made long burnouts. I just loved them. But as it turns out, when I drove for Larry Minor the first year, McDonald's came on as a sponsor, and my teammate at the time, Ed the Ace McCullough, legendary great racer, was driving the funny car. I remember he had the Miller car through the 80s, Miller High Life beer car, and so he was, I think he wanted to pursue what at that time was the blue chip crew chief. So Lee Beard was hired with Minor. So when the McDonald's thing came around, basically Larry asked me, he goes, "Hey, do you mind driving the funny car? Because looks like Ed wants to drive the dragster." Of course, he was the veteran driver, and I was some young guy just coming in trying to get a ride. So I said, "Sure." Little did they know that's what I preferred anyway. So it turns out, and the rest is history.
Two funny comments there when you talked about the 21-second time there. John, he talks about Ray Charles could see the time on that clock. So that's a pretty good one. But then Dragster Jeff asked a question here for you. Says, does Crew have any plans on running Nostalgia Funny Car again?
Absolutely. I want to run Bakersfield. In fact, they moved the famous Bakersfield March meet out in Bakersfield, California. They moved it from March to May. So my plan is to make a couple more hits with the Charger. We've already got the combination kind of dialed in to the way I want to run it. And so we're going to try to go, weather permitting, out here to IRP, make some hits and drag that thing to California, especially now that I have the team I have, where really I'm going to go back to being a driver, which, hey, that's what I am. I'm a driver. And so, and I'll still interact with the guys, but I'm not going to, the responsibility is no longer to be there with the team, day in and day out. I can go away and just really just try to take care of the business side of racing, enjoy my time a little bit. I haven't really had the most time and the most enjoyment doing what I've had. Although I enjoyed the tuning part, there's just so much to it to really be good at it. And I want to win races. And so for me, I'm excited that I have the team that I have in place, but it'll also allow me to get out and maybe do some racing. So I want to do the March meet, and then later in the year, there's what's called the California Hot Rod Reunion in Bakersfield. And those really are the two marquee races for nostalgia cars. I'm really not interested in, doing any other race. And just those two races are important to me. And I think we have a really good car. And so, we're definitely going to do that.
So, Cruz, my last question for you tonight. In the 90s, you're the individual that foils the plan for John Force. You win a championship. Many years later, you pick up another championship, and you're sitting as two-time NHRA Funny Car champion, almost in really different eras. Do you think 2021 is the best shot you've had since the second one to pick up a third title?
Yep. Sure do.
Boom. There it is.
To the point.
I mean, there really is not much else to say. Yep, exactly right. Best shot I've had in many years. And so, but I appreciate the position. I don't take it for granted. It's been a struggle, but you know what? Life is a struggle, and there's people out there that have a lot harder time, with life. And so I want to recognize, the times that we're in right now, but me winning another championship before I hang up the gloves is really important to me. And I think we've got the pieces in place, but you know what? It's going to be fun trying, and we'll see. Like I said, I'm a believer in not really getting caught up too much in predicting or all that stuff. Let's just go out there and let's see where we stack up. But we're putting all the resources behind this. I can tell you that we're really doing everything and then some. And that's why the testing I mentioned to you earlier, I could just pick one race or one event to go to test, but we're going to both. We really feel like like a football team that really feels like they're ready to win now. There's a free agent or two out there. Let's do all we can to make this count. There's we've got a few years here to do it. And so like I said, we'll see what happens.
And my final question for you, and I think it's something cool that you're doing with the Hispanic community, is all the different names that you have on the car. Can we expect a new name for 2021? Are you keeping it the same? And then kind of go into detail why you do that.
Well, we're going to have a new name. In fact, the first one's going to be Gato Malo, which is Bad Cat for the Hellcats. Actually, we'll have the new 2020 Hellcats on the bodies on the car, thanks to DSR. And so we're going to have Dodge behind us, and we do have the Hellcats, so we'll have the same bodies that the defending champion Matt Hagan will have, and Caps and all the our Dodge teammates. So we're real excited about that. But the name came about is we have all these bodies. Each team has 4 or 5 bodies, and they all look exactly like. There's a little tiny number on the very back that identifies them. So I thought, man, that's that we needed something cool. So we've named them, and we try to use Hispanic names so people can identify. That's my heritage. And so I really feel like that's my way to express. It's not a sponsor. It's not anything that, in fact, the real estate we put it on is right on the very top by the spoiler. And it's really real estate, as we call it on the car. I don't sell it. So we put big old letters. So we try to have fun with it, but it's really to identify the cars, and so people can have fun and, check it out and check out the different. We have some pretty cool names, but you'll have to check it out. El Gato Malo, and that's Bad Cat. And so we kind of name them randomly. My right-hand man, Caleb Cox, who's a guy from Brownsburg here, he knows as much or more Spanish than I do, so really get a kick out of it. He's only like 30 years old, and he comes up with, I got to give him credit, he comes up with most of these names. I'll sign off on it, but so yeah, I actually came up with that one there. So, but yeah, we're hoping it's a Bad Cat for real.
Cruz, best of luck in 2021, man.
Hey guys, hey, I love being on with you guys. Hey man, I got to ask you, what's up with the shades on the show?
Oh, Hey man, hey, just like you got the Latino names on the car, it's just a persona, man. Got to go with it. Got to go with it. They're my go fast glasses. They're my go fast glasses.
Love it.
Every episode, someone has something to say.
What's that?
Well, at least his is halfway positive. It was inquisitive. It wasn't just like, dude, you're stupid. I can see him.
Every episode, someone's like, dude, take off the glasses, like, get over it. And this
hey, man, that's so it's but hey, but I appreciate you guys. Hey, Sam, it was good meeting you, man. I love the Raiders, love there for the Raiders, and appreciate you, man. You had some good questions.
All right, you take care. We will see you at a track very, very soon.
Hey, who are you picking for the Super Bowl? Both of you guys. Who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Chiefs.
Low hanging fruit. Sam, yeah.
I got the Chiefs, man. Bobby's gonna get mad at me for saying this, but the last time I saw a Super Bowl was at Qualcomm Stadium, and my beloved Raiders got beat by Warren Sapp doing that pitiful dance in the end zone.
Right. Yeah, that was like 2002, wasn't it? Something like that.
Yes, and see, I worked at the Charger Stadium then, so I will never again appreciate what Tampa Bay did to my beloved Raiders. So therefore, I have to go Chiefs.
It was awful. I agree. I'd like to see the GOAT win it, but man, that offense is like those guys are like a good running nitro engine. When they're on 8 cylinders, man, there is no stopping those guys, it seems like. So, but we'll see. All right.
We'll have a Skip Bayless moment next week, me and Lee.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. After
the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Take care, man. Good night.
All right, man. Thank you.
Well, congratulations. Congratulations there, Sam.
Hey.
You made it through.
But see, I figured it out after last week. If you leave the pin open, there's no room for the pin to go. See? I'm learning, Lee.
You're learning.
Don't set myself up for the 1-2 like I did.
Oh, Frank didn't get you with just no 1-2. He got you every combination. Wow.
He went into Popeye's Chicken and said, I want the family pack.
Yes, he did. Hey, but look what Cruz dropped tonight. That's pretty cool, man.
Hey, I'm using my get out of jail free cards now. Hopefully that offer is still on the table for us to go down there and drive.
We call him Bobby. We didn't talk to him about that on the conference call. We got to go down there and drive.
We do. Make a video. We could do a podcast episode from there, especially that pool view he had. I mean, there's a lot of good things he had going on there.
Yeah.
Lee, I got some local guys on my show coming up here.
Okay.
And we will be dropping the West Buck episode on YouTube. It's already on the podcast form, but we will be dropping the video of that.
Let me stop. Listen, folks, go listen to Sam's podcast with Wes Buck. That was an insightful podcast with Drag Illustrated's Wes Buck. So where can they go find it there, Slammin' Sam?
If you have not already done, please go over to YouTube and click that subscribe button so you get all the notifications. But on all your major platforms for your podcast, that is Apple Podcasts, Google, whatever, type in the Groove Podcast, and you will see a picture, not of me, but of something. Or go to my Facebook page or my Twitter, and you can see that because we put those on. They dropped every Thursday at midnight, 6 a.m., wherever you are. You're driving to work, you should give that a listen. Just like my co-host, Lee, he does great things on his show, and that is what, Lee? Let him know.
Between the Slicks, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Thursday nights, the most diverse drag racing talk show out there. No prep to NHRA, sponsors, drivers, crew members, crew chiefs. This week, it is Kyle Wurtzel and also the Superstock champion for the Southeast Gassers. Sam, good seeing you. I'm out.
All right, buddy. Well, everybody, I always say this. If you have any questions, suggestions, just like you, John, down there, please email those suggestions and those questions for Jeff or any of us. Please email them to powerhourcp@gmail.com. We will get to them. We will get them to Jeff. Or if you have something for us, If you want to know some personal information or anything, please let us know. If you would like to sponsor Competition Plus, please send us an email or get a hold of the boss man, Bobby Bennett. But this has been another episode wide open with great questions and great content again for you guys. We will be live again next week on Tuesday with 2 more good and great guests for you. I'm Slammin' Sam, my co-host, Monday Morning Racer Lee. Till next time, y'all, keep smashing that loud pedal.